Well, hello and welcome to another Sunday Daily Dominion. We have some campaign features popping up immediately upon opening this daily. And in this one, Grotto has Reactionified. We have Penny Party as a twist, and also one of our starting cards, one of our shelters, in this case how is it called? The hovel is replaced with a grotto already. So this seems to be a grotto themed campaign. And the twist penny party means that at the start of our turn we gain a copper. And also the AI will gain coppers at the start of its turn. So yeah, indeed we are partying with pennies here. Lots of them. And it's actually one of my least favorite twists. I think maybe the cramped one where you only draw 4 cards instead of 5 for your next hand is also there among the least favorite ones. But Penny Party can get really messy if there is no trashing. But here at least we have Infirmary as a trasher that will allow us to hopefully kind of get a handle on our deck. What does Reactionified mean? It means that Grotto is also a reaction card with the trail reaction, which says then that Grotto is also a reaction with when you gain, trash, or discard this other than in cleanup, you may play it. So yeah, it kind of synergizes with itself. We could get a grotto train going by setting aside grottos, like grottos on play text is set aside up to 4 cards from your hand. At the start of your next turn, discard them, then draw as many. So if we set aside grottos with grottos, then we might even immediately be able to play them when we discard them. But I actually don't know how good that is, to be honest, because at the start of your turn you might not want to set aside that many cards from your hand, especially since you discard first and then only then draw. So when you react that immediately, well, you do get an action and you could set aside cards, but you are only gonna have your five card hand. And yeah, I don't know, but still it might come up. And yeah, notably also the Temple Games client does not allow you to order your grotto resolves in the beginning of the turn, I think. So it will like even if we have one grotto that sets aside grotto and one that doesn't, we cannot really steer which one to resolve first. But yeah, still it's a fun thing. And as you can see, also we have 11 cards. We have three landscape cards, one landmark, one event, and a prophecy. So this kingdom is certainly packed. And I will get rid of myself, and you can read through the kingdom right now. Pause the video. I will not explain all of the cards, but I will go over the most important ones. So yeah, this is what's going on. We have states and hexes from Werewolf being around. And yeah, if we look at this, then, well, we see that we have everything we would like for an engine. We have a village and bandit camp, also somewhat in Diplomat, but with Grotto probably not as relevant. Although you can set aside to your hand and then play Diplomat to activate the +2 actions. We have Barge and Diplomat and Poet for draw. Also Caravan and Werewolf. Yeah, lots of draw. We have Improve to improve our action cards, which might or might not come up. Note that this Reactionified has the same problem. I don't know whether it's a problem, but um, thing with Improve that does not work as you might expect it. As Reactionified says when you gain, trash, or discard this other than in cleanup, you may play it, and Improve trashes an action card from play during cleanup, at the start of cleanup, but still during cleanup, so at that point you wouldn't be able to react to Grotto even if you trashed it. Then Trashing, I already said, we have Infirmary, we have Changeling to, instead of gaining any card costing up to, costing 3 or more, we can just gain a Changeling and then Changeling into said card. And yeah, Approaching Army is the reason why we have one extra card in here. I think in this case it's Werewolf, as Approaching Army has a setup thingy here, add an attack kingdom card pile to the supply, so either Pillage or Werewolf. And it also says after you play an attack card, you get +1 coin once the prophecy has been activated. And this prophecy will activate after 5 Omen cards have been played, and in this case the Omen card is Poet. There are no other Omen cards. Orchard is a landmark that tells us when scoring for victory points per differently named action card you have 3 or more copies of. And what better facilitates this than Populate being in the kingdom, saying gain 1 card from each action supply pile. So if we manage to somehow populate 3 times, we will be able to have all of those juicy orchard points. Yeah, so that's all that's going on in the kingdom. I think that the goal will be to both populate as often and as early as possible, and also trash as much as possible. And yeah, we do have this grotto in our starting hand, which we could set aside, and I think which we could use to set aside stuff. I think we will make use of that. But yeah, a quick look at the kingdom plot tells you everything I've already told you. Probably notable here is that the draw is off the charts. I think Barge, Werewolf, Poet, Diplomat, Caravan, and all yield so much draw that the draw indicator here goes up to 4. And yeah, I don't know, the attacks might not be super relevant, like Werewolf, the hexing. We'll see how much of that we will need to do. Well, Penny Party kind of feels like an attack, but we hopefully will get clean with Infirmary stuff. Pillage is a strong attack, but trashes itself after playing it, and there's no way to retrieve it from the trash or anything, so probably not going to be relevant, especially with Grotto determining much of your next turn hand. And yeah, that's that. So the question is, how are we going to open? I did not prepare any opening hints because I think due to where your grotto will end up, and as you have 7 coppers and the grotto and the 2 different things, I don't know, I couldn't be bothered. We do have the 2-5, which I think is alright, as we will just on our turn 1 set aside our hand. And I think turn 2 just use Infirmary to trash a bunch, as including the Necropolis and the Overgrown Estate. We could also think about just setting aside 2, but that would mean that we wouldn't draw as much, like setting aside the Necropolis and the Overgrown Estate and buying another Grotto, but that wouldn't draw us at as many cards next turn. And actually, yeah, no, probably it's not the play, but we could still think about it. Because then we might be able to play the Grotto on turn 2 as well. On the 5-2, I think the 5-2 might be superior because you will be able to put in, I don't know, maybe a barge or, yeah, probably a barge early on is good, already into the shuffle. The goal is going to be to add bandit camps and barges and werewolves as early as possible to, yeah, those will help us to hit populate. And on the 3-4, well, what would I open on the 3-4? Depends on which hand I see the grotto in. If the hand is in the 3 hand, so if the grotto is in the 3 hand, then just go for set a big set aside. If the grotto is in the 4 hand, then I might be a bit sad, but probably just buy Grotto, react Grotto, and set aside 2. The 4/3, probably a Poet, doesn't look too bad. Could also go Infirmary and trigger a shuffle already. And yeah, I don't know, it's not super clear to me, but yeah, the 2/5, I think we're going with that, setting aside 4, drawing a bunch, trashing a bunch on turn 2. And I would say we start this game and see how it goes. I goes for a Grotto and reacts it, but doesn't set aside anything. And let's draw cards first. I don't think it matters much because we're going to overpay anyways. Now, if we, and our actions, how much do we want to overpay? If we overpay, if we overpay 4, we get to trash all 4 cards. I think that's the play. Yeah. And we will just have, yeah, the 7 coppers, the Grotto, and the Infirmary. And here we set aside 2 and just get another Grotto into the deck. And we could play it, but it doesn't really matter. Now we pick up a Barge, I think. And we can... what do we do? Maybe the Grotto was not the greatest actually there. Maybe it should have been a Poet to rather draw a bit. This is, yeah, a bit awkward. We could just play this Grotto, setting aside 1 here, and put in this Barge. We are going to need another big Infirmary overpay soon, which we might facilitate by playing the Barge in a delayed fashion. And we do get to draw here. Again, not the greatest draw. I think we're going to do the same. Or maybe this just wants to be a set aside 2 and go for a silver, or it could also be, oh, let's play this, not set anything aside and get a bandit camp in, and then next turn the barge, and then hopefully get rolling that way. We can buy a grotto to set aside 2 here. But yeah, we are getting swamped in coppers, and so is AI. So we're really due for a big infirmary overpay again. But let's hope we hit 8, 10 somewhat soon. And here it's a bit of a pity that we will trigger the shuffle. But we do get to trash out a copper, and we do get to set aside. Well, if we just set aside our whole deck essentially here, then next turn we should probably, if we are lucky enough to find the barge, we should be able to. No, we are guaranteed to find the barge. We should be able to populate, and then from there on we should just get going. But this is awkward. Like getting swamped in coppers like this, I don't really know um how to properly yeah, approach this in the beginning. Let's play this barge for now. Let's play this infirmary and see what we draw. Can always trash the grotto. And that's actually pretty good. So we have 13, which is enough to populate and buy something else. Do we want to buy something else is the question. And also there's a question, I think we just set aside, we don't gain everything the normal way. Probably exchange the Infirmary and the Pillage for Changeling. Hmm. We can also not play 3 of the coppers here. Yeah. And because we're going to gain a grotto off of the populate, we will be able to play it and set aside. I think that's the best course of action here. Gain all the werewolf, not, or maybe we get with the pillage we would get a double. Well, if we draw well next turn, then we might get a double populate off, but that might be a bit too greedy. Maybe we don't really have to draw. Oh, let's go for it. And I think the infirmary we don't need, and the improve we also don't need. Also note that changelings can pile really quickly here. Wow. If you just populate and exchange everything for a changeling, the pile is essentially gone. Yeah, improve or also improve does not look all too bad. How's our terminal space? Might be a bit on the tough side, actually. Mm, yeah, maybe we gain the werewolf, don't gain the pillage, gain the barge, gain the bandit camp, gain the poet, gain the diplomat should also be okay, and gain 2 changelings here. Just because I'm concerned about terminal space. I mean, we can always trash a grotto with the infirmary, but yeah. And let's see. AI has 10 and buys a bandit camp and barge, opts to not populate, which is certainly a mistake. Yeah, let's see. Okay, nice. We do draw a bunch here. Let's trigger the shuffle. There's another barge down there. And yeah, this is looking all right. Do get to set aside a bunch again. 4 of these. Now we have 7 here. Maybe that's a bit risky, actually. Yeah, let's play this infirmary first, trashing a grotto. And maybe we set aside those, as we won't be able to play them. And now we have 9. Yeah, let's play this werewolf. I think we're guaranteed to find at least a copper. Probably we'll find 3, but yeah, we will gain a grotto, which will be able to set aside grotto and coppers again. So we should be fine like that. 10. And gain the grotto first, set aside stuff. Okay. And now just gain all. Again, the pillage for changeling. Gain that kind of stuff. And maybe the diplomat wants to become a changeling. Maybe it's also okay. The infirmary for sure. Improve also changeling. And then next turn we should be able to pile out. And here, maybe just for safety reasons, we should, instead of a bandit camp, we should get a poet for 3 extra points. Just because I'm a tiny bit scared of AI populating and getting bandit camp into grottos. Like if it draws here, although it hasn't trashed at all, and has only set aside 4 cards with the grotto there. Maybe actually this kingdom might be a weird case of where you just never really trashed that much. I think we trashed, well, apparently we did trash quite a 5 cards, but it feels like our deck is super thick still with all of this stuff. And AI goes for bandit camps, and if we hit 10 here, we should have already won. Let's resolve this. And here, exactly, here, that's what I was talking about in the beginning. It would be really nice if we could resolve the other grotto first, exactly like this, and then only then resolve the grotto that has the things on it. Let's play this, not set anything aside. It's a cute village, I guess. But here, yeah, I think we should be able to draw our deck and win in flying fashion. Actually, I should have played the poet later, because it's more or less guaranteed to draw the stuff down from there. And yeah, we do get to draw our deck. All of those 14 coppers, wow. And how many populates can we afford? 3. That sounds like a good amount. Okay, in all, just have some fun. Play a grotto and populate again, gain all. Yeah, what a funny little kingdom that is. Decline playing that. One more, and then now we can pile the changelings. Decline that. Or maybe we should actually get gain the pillage for the orchard points. Yeah, I just want to maximize the piles we empty. And exchange this, exchange that. And now we can't exchange anymore. Decline this and buy an estate. 40 victory points just off of Orchard. That's insane. And we do get to have some more fun here. Yeah, and finish this game on turn 10 with 40 victory points. I believe if you have better early game lineups, like our Infirmary and the Grotto colliding as they did, or maybe also our turn, what was it, turn 3 Grotto was not the greatest. Like, did we do here? Yeah, this might have wanted to be a poet, or yeah, something that moved the deck along better, because this early grotto and this early secondary grotto did not do that much for us, and instead we should have just played on with the infirmary, which would have trashed some coppers and essentially been a neutral card if we wanted to hit 5, just a +1 card, and therefore, yeah, this turn 3, I think a poet would have been a faster thing to do. But yeah, with Populate, you just go crazy here. It's actually insane, especially with the changelings. And yeah, this was just 10 turns, but also, of course, we did start out with a good card in our deck with a Reactionified Grotto. But on the other hand, we had to fight against the penny party in the end. Actually, let's see, how many coppers did we have? 14, yeah. AI had 16. And even though AI had stuffed its deck with bandit camps and barges and grottos, it was not enough to master all of this junk, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting kingdom. As always, on Sundays, there's a bunch going on, and I found it to be quite fun, especially with the Populate stuff. So, yeah, I don't know what else to tell you, so I'll try to catch you in the next one, and until then, goodbye.